Meantime, Missouri Senator Josh Hawley is speaking out on the spread of the coronavirus and how the Chinese government is to blame for the pandemic, not the Trump administration. One America's John Hines caught up with Hawley and has this report.
A headline just came out. House lawmakers indefinitely postpone return to Washington. Apparently, it was supposed to come back the 23rd. They put that off. I was going to ask you, the Senate, of course, is an older demographic. Presumably, the virus is riskier for people who are older. Any thought in the Senate to change the schedule based on coronavirus? Is that something that you all are discussing? You heard any rumors?
I don't know if it's being discussed, but I certainly hope that what the Senate is doing, Senate leadership is doing on both sides of the aisle, are looking at how we're going to technologically, how we're going to accommodate this. Because I don't think it's an option just for the Senate to go out of session for 2 months. I mean, I was just seeing today that medical experts, Dr. Scott Gottlieb, for instance, are saying he thinks that we are potentially 2 months away from the peak here. The peak. I mean, so that we could be in this for quite a while. So I don't think that the Senate or the whole Congress, for that matter, can just shut down for that time. But we do need to think about, is it safe to have lots and lots of people all together? I see the CDC is revising its guidance now. They don't want gatherings of more than 10 people. That's going to put a lot of burden on this institution. So I hope that we're exploring teleconferencing, teleworking. Can we hold hearings by teleconference to be able to vote by a proxy and committees if necessary? I think all options need to be on the table so that we can continue vital work, but we can adhere to the health guidelines of the CDC.
So you don't see the Senate perhaps following suit of the House, just not coming back?
That I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, the point is, if we embraced a telework or telecommute model, hopefully we'd be able to do a lot of this business remotely, so we could still be working, I mean, in session in one way or another, but not necessarily here, except for final recorded votes. But I don't know what the status of that is. I just think that it's moving so quickly, and it's something that this institution has really not seen before, that I suspect that folks I don't know what quite to make of it yet, but I think we've got to be ready to adjust, and we've got to be pretty nimble here. And listen, I mean, we could be in for, as Dr. Fauci says, a long time of hunkering down. So we've got to come up with some workarounds so that we can keep doing the country's business.
China has been putting out some information about saying that this did not start there. What are they trying to do with this messaging, sir?
You know, what they're trying to do is evade their responsibility. We all know where it started. It started in the Wuhan province. We all know that the Chinese government lied about this for weeks on end, that they initially tried to suppress the whistleblowers who brought this to their attention. Of course, that lead doctor who insisted on getting the truth out to the world is now dead because of his heroic service in caring for so many patients during this outbreak. So the Chinese government, the Chinese Communist Party here, is to blame for this global health pandemic, in the sense that if they had taken the steps early on that they should have, if they had let people into the country, if they had allowed medical teams to come and study the virus, if they had actually been honest with their own citizens, maybe this could have been contained. But they weren't, and now they're trying to score propaganda victories, and it is sort of extraordinary. I mean, you look at some of their propaganda making its way into the New York Times. The New York Times actually has been publishing pieces recently, had a headline, I think, about how China bought the world time. That's straight from the CCP's play. I mean, that is straight Beijing propaganda. Simply not true. We are in this circumstance in this crisis because of Beijing. So now we're going to have to pull together. The United States is going to have to take the lead. We've got to look to our citizens and the people here in this country, our residents, and we've got to do everything it takes to beat this. But make no mistake, China, they're where this originated. The Chinese government, the communist government, is responsible for their catastrophic handling of this virus, and we're all dealing with the consequences.
Finally, the Trump administration, there's been some criticism. Is that fair of how they've been handling the coronavirus, sir?
Well, listen, I mean, there's always going to be critics. I would say the president's done a couple of things that were really important. Number one is, early on, he restricted travel from China. That was a huge deal. At the time, many people said, oh, that's alarmist. That's not needed. I think I was the first member of Congress to call for travel restrictions on China, so I was in favor of that decision, and it was the right decision. Making the bold move now to restrict travel from the continent of Europe. Again, you see all the same people saying, oh, that's draconian, it's alarmist. It's absolutely the right thing to do. Now, we've got to be nimble and aggressive, and you've got to keep moving with the situation, evolving with the situation. So I hope the administration will continue to do that. We've got to scale up our testing. It still isn't to the places we need it to be. We've got to secure ventilators. I'm concerned about ventilator shortages. So listen, it's an emergency. There's going to be all kinds of things to worry about and respond to, but I think the president is out there working aggressively. I think his administration is, and we just all have to keep after it.
Senator, I won't shake your hand, but thank you very much. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you. Good to see you.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.